Okay, I'm going to show you how to set up a cron job for free. So the first part is to sign into your AWS account. Okay, once you're there, um, the next thing is to just go. Okay, so what we're going to do is basically we're going to use DynamoDB and Lambda to uh, create a scheduled trigger that runs code um, like a cron job. And what it's going to do is that with Lambda, you have such a large free tier that you can effectively run multiple cron jobs for free. Um, so first, just sorry, show you what I did. I clicked on DynamoDB. You can search it up here, and then go to it and click Tables. Click Create Table. Click call it cron. Maybe cron ID for your for the partition key, and then create. This is a NoSQL table, so it's the first couple steps. As it's doing that, go to AWS and go to Lambda. And we're going to create a Lambda function here. So here we're going to use an existing role, but we don't have any. So, uh, so we have to give this Lambda function permissions to do certain things. So to access other services on AWS. To make it really simple, and you can always change this later, we're just going to create a user, and we're going to create a role. So see here, existing role that just has administrative access. So normally you don't want to do this because it defeats the purpose of having these things, but it's easy for now. So see, I just selected Lambda or whatever. Then I selected the permissions, administrator access, next, review, um, Lambda execution, create role. Okay, refresh, there it is. Go back here, and then refresh here, select the role. Okay, call it cron job. Let's do Python. Create function. Okay, so I'm gonna copy a couple lines of code I have over here. So you can just type this in, pause here. So what happens is when a Lambda is triggered, um, you'll see over here, there's a certain amount of records that can be passed to the Lambda at once. So, and that's held in the event. This is context, but we're not going to use that. Um, so you want to go through each record, okay? In this case, we're only going to have one, but just so you know what this means. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to print. We're going to print. So the first thing is we're just going to print here, activated, and then print the record name. So this will make a bit of sense in a second. Okay, so go back to DynamoDB. So what Lambdas do is they are triggered on certain changes in an AWS service. So this doesn't have to be DynamoDB, it can be anything. Go to more, click triggers, click create trigger, click existing Lambda function, cron job. So this batch size correlates to the amount of records that could possibly be in here at once. So click create. So this will take some time to process. While it's processing, we're just going to go over here and we're going to go to sponta.com because we're going to use this later. So for now, just sign in with your email. I'm just going to make something up. make sure PC notifications are on. Push to yourself. There we go. So so what Sponsored is it enables you to push to yourself, either to your phone or to your computer. So this will be an easy way for us to test certain things and just quickly see, rather than going to the logs. So, so we can again test it here. So I went to the push tab, I select the channel. So this is, again, we're waiting for the Lambda to process. So I'm going to push to myself again so I can push anything. And there it is, okay. So now when we go over here, this should be good. Let's create an item and just call it 1, okay. So now what should have happened is when we go back over here, the Lambda should have ran. So we can go back to triggers, and see it changed from no records processed to OK. So that means it didn't break. And we can actually see where that print statement went by going to CloudWatch as a service, then going to logs, click view log groups, and click cron job C. And then this is a log stream. You'll have several of these. Click it, and there we go, activated. So if you remember, this is the event name insert. Okay. So we printed the event name for the record. Okay, so we successfully triggered our Lambda function. So that's great. Here's the second part. Now let's so I'm just going to first show you this, and then it will make sense why I'm doing this in a second. We're only going to quote unquote trigger our function. So let's just say def we're only going to quote unquote trigger our cron job if the event was deleted. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to put cron job not triggered. Okay. Okay, great. And let's go back here. And we're actually just going to delete this. Then we're going to create, well, okay, so we removed it, right? So let's see, we can refresh the, so this is it. So whenever you edit your Lambda function, it's going to create a new log stream. So if you go back here, you'll see another one was created. So let's go to the latest one, which is that one. And you'll see, okay, so you'll see now there are a bunch of them. So what happened here was we had a mistake, so it continually reruns it. So you can change this by doing a try and catch statement or try and accept. In this case, we just didn't pass the record object. Yeah. So it'll always repeat. It'll always keep trying to run the function unless you catch the error. So we have a third log stream because we just edited it. There we go. So you'll see, yeah, we successfully activated it because it said remove. So it was in the cron job. Now, if we create an item, we won't activate it. Okay. Okay, see, cron job not triggered. Okay, so now we're almost there. So now, this is the interesting part. So depending on the type of change to the database, we can take a certain action. So now, let's edit this and let's add a number called expiration stamp, and open up a new tab and go to epochconverter.com, and you can just make this for you know, in an hour. Put that in there and then save. Okay, so what this is going to do is delete this will automatically delete the item at that time. So this so DynamoDB basically has a function called time to live. Okay, so you have to enable it, and so I clicked manage and put an expiration stamp. So what this does is it will check this attribute, and it'll do so about every 15 minutes, and it'll see which items to delete. So we chose ours for in an hour. So if we go up here and we do like that time, we can see which items will be deleted. And so we see that this one will be. Okay, so there we go. So now we have that enabled. Okay. So now the next thing is what we want to do is we want to insert an item into so basically what we want to do to keep the cron job going is that when it deletes, it'll trigger this function, and then once we run our function, we want to reinsert the DynamoDB item. Okay, so to do that, import time, do DynamoDB equals boto3 resource DynamoDB, then do DynamoDB delete table, cron job or cron table dot put item, and then item equals cron ID, no, like that, and we can just say 2. Remember, if another item exists, because this is our partition key with the same ID, it'll overwrite that item, and then say expiration stamp int time, and then do let's say your interval is 24 hours. So you want to do 24 times 60 times 60, 24 times 3600. That is the amount of seconds in a day. Okay. And then you just add that, expire a day from now. So this will make it rerun in one day. So actually, let's insert some other number like that, okay, so that we know. So I think this should work. One more thing. Normally you have to put in your credentials here, but Lambda automatically assumes the role that we give it, so we don't need to put any credentials here. Okay, so just save it, and then go back here, and when we delete this, if everything goes well, we should see another one pop up. Hey, there we go. Okay, great. So that's what happens. So even though we delete it, the Lambda will keep adding another one in. So look, this is 462, right? So if I delete this, we should see like, 490 or something. Maybe 482, 484, 4684. Okay, see how it keeps updating it. And so now at this part of the tutorial, you're pretty much ready to do your own cron job for free, because a free tier. So first of all, this capacity of the DynamoDB table. This is within the free tier of AWS, and furthermore, to exceed the free tier, of AWS Lambda, it is pretty difficult. So you can effectively run these cron jobs for free. So one last caveat, only a few, so this might take a bit to achieve, but only a few packages are automatically included in here. So for example, if I want to import, Google Cloud or whatever it is, I can't do that. So, there are certain things like requests I can import and that will work. So now if you want a more complex cron job, to do that, you would have to go over to here and go to AWS deployment package. So this is where we'll use Spontit, because this is an example of, okay, we want to import Spontit to send ourselves a push notification. We can't do that off the bat. So in order to do that, first let's copy all of our code and move it over here, okay? And then let's go back over here and see what we have to do. So sometimes this is easy, sometimes it's hard. If you're trying to import Google Cloud Vision, there are certain errors that you will get, and maybe you'll run into my Stack Overflow answer, but typically AWS Lambda is run on a virtual machine whose OS is Linux. So if you are installing these packages on your Mac, you might run into errors. And in that case, you need to start up an EC2 instance, SSH into it, and then create the deployment package, which is what we're about to create, on that instance by installing the packages there. Then copy it, SCP, to your computer, zip it, and then upload it. And I'll show you how to do that. But CRP, I believe this is it. I'm trying to show you the Stack Overflow answer. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so this is the answer. You can always Google it, but this basically goes through the instructions on how to set up the EC2 instance and do all of that. So we're not going to do that for now, but if you ever need to do that, here are the instructions. Okay, so we're just going to do this on our computer. So scroll down to with the virtual environment. So we're already SSH'd into here. Okay. Source bin activate. Oh. Okay, so now that we have that, let's, for example, pip install Spontit. Okay, so we did that. Okay, so now that we're there, I'm going to ignore the rest of the steps, actually. So I just did this one, and I did that one. So our goal is to get an external package to run on AWS Lambda. The first thing I'm going to do before I do that is make sure that my code works. So to do that, let's just do, we want to run so we know all this works, right? And now we want to send a push notification to ourselves. So this is just some Spontit code. So we actually want to say run sponted import sponted resource. And then we want to go over here and we need to fill this out. So this is, you'll see our user ID and our secret key. So we go over here, we go to profile. This is our username. Then we get a secret key over here. Copy it, insert it. Okay, and spawned it resource dot push test. Okay, so we tested this earlier, so it should work. There we go. Okay, so that works. All right, so now that we have installed Sponted, we have the virtual environment going. Let's just do deactivate like it says there, and let me see what we have to do here. So we're actually going to have to. We're actually going to go over here, and we have to get these packages out. So this is where AWS Lambda is a little weird. So we actually want these in the main directory. Okay, and then the last thing is we're going to zip all of this. Okay, so one last thing before we zip it and test it. I want to point out that this function is called lambda underscore function.py. It has to be called that because it needs to look for the name of the file and what function to run in the zipped folder. So it has to be named this. So let's just zip all this, compress. Okay, so now we're going to go here and we have to upload it to S3. So create a bucket. I don't know if that's taken or not. I guess not. Okay. And upload your archive. Okay, now click it and get this link. Now go back to your Lambda function. And we're going to change it to S3. There's our zip and save it. So I made a mistake here. This is the extremely annoying thing about this process is that now I actually want to add this function in. But let's just see if this works. So the reason why we'll know if this works or not is because I still imported it. So if it didn't work, it would still crash and we could see that in the logs. But so let's just see if it works. So now that I save it here, I should be able to delete this. See, so something did not work. and we'll go here and we'll see function call problem. Yep. And let's go back here. Oh, interesting. So I actually didn't expect this. I thought it would be already included. So we see that we actually had a pip install request. So we have to do two things. Whoops. So pip install requests. Oh. Okay, hold on. Let me just, so it doesn't recognize pip because all of this actually belonged in here. So now refresh it. Oh, whoops, I got that as well. Okay, so now we have requests. Let's do the same thing. Okay. Now we will need to go back to S3 and re-upload. Again, copy the link. Resave it. See, it worked. So it hasn't loaded the logs yet, but I know it worked because we added in the push notification. So let's just check the logs and see, remove, and then see how it says cron job not triggered? That's because we only trigger it on remove, and it was activated again. The Lambda function was ran again because we reinserted this element, this item in the table. So look, see, it's there. So look, if I now, this is the great thing. So this will automatically delete, right, in one day, and I can test it just by deleting it. And actually, I will send myself a push notification by deleting it. So, and then I refresh, and it's back. And now you can run any arbitrary cron jobs that are short in time, you know, for pretty much free. So that's the great thing. If you go back to your Lambda, so a couple things I want to go over really quick. You can actually check. Whoops. If you ever want to, you can, based on the cron job ID number, which you can check, you can determine what that is. and it's in the record. So, you know, you can play around with that, just print out the record and then get the cron job ID, and then you can run a specific job based on which job was deleted, like which job item was deleted from the table. And the second thing I want to say is if you have so this is one limit of Lambda without a server. If you have a function that needs to go on sorry, I'll back up. Lambda by default times out after 3 seconds. So that's this right here. Here's my Lambda function. Scroll down. Basic settings. Timeout 3 seconds. So you can increase that to up to 15 minutes. And just leave it at that. But that's your limit. Past that, you either want to break it up into different parts and have you know, multiple Lambda functions, or you know, different parts where it takes up again, or you just run a server or do Fargate. There's a video on YouTube called Fat Lambda. I recommend it if you're still want to do a serverless option. It uses Fargate to run tasks that are longer than 15 minutes. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching.